Okay, so your definition would be something inside of you?
Could something inside of me. There seems to be a spot in the brains where there's place for experience, more bigger experience outside of us, and I think that I can believe that's true, and I have a little bit of those experience for myself. So I think the same, like what is salt and sweet. So there's also a place in the brains, but that's a little more harder to reach. There what that's a spot where you have where you can have extraordinary experience, and perhaps that's a place where people call God.
Okay. And so what kind of qualities would that space have? Or what feelings?
Universal space, and I think there's more understanding from the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there you can reach. It could be that you feel more connected with everybody, so there's more peace.
Even a plant, you can take a seed and put it in the earth, but you cannot grow the plant. You cannot go inside of the seed and say, I make a seed.
Yeah.
So, this is really cosmic power.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. And can you tell me where this comes from for you?
I think it's an experience. It is really something I have, how to say, involved or discovered these last few years, especially. It's something which is so you can't grab it, you can't hold it, you can't keep it, but it's there, and sometimes very close, and certainly when you get close to people, then I feel it's there, obviously, and but not always people let you come close. But for me, it has very much to do with intimacy, but also divine qualities I find also in landscapes, in certain moments when there's just an incredible beauty, and I find it sometimes more difficult to find divine qualities in situations like war and criminal energy and aggression. That's sometimes painful. But who says that divine can be only nice and sweet? And so it's still a process where I'm learning a lot.
Can you describe your definition of God then? It sounds to me it's very maybe describe it if you were describing it to someone who doesn't know what you're.
It's hard to say how to describe it, because it's whatever you think that's it, that's how it is. It's not. Probably, I think it's very hard to put a finger on it and point us and this is now. I think it's in a quality which is almost unspeakable. You can feel it. You can sense it, you can feel it, and sometimes I think it is also very much part of creativity in general. But there are many qualities when I feel this is from another order, from another level of existence.
Why I can't see that there is a personal God, someone who interferes with people's individual lives. I think that's just preposterous to think that we are that important that there's someone who, and two, I think people's perspective of people's just ability to grasp an idea, I think it's just too limited. You need to people's God, and okay, I'm aware that people draw comfort and strength from it, and that's fine if they do, but for me it's a ludicrous idea, and even blasphemous maybe, for a God who would be responsible for also for the bad things in the world. And yeah, people try to make that fit somehow in their image of God, of their God, but I think it's just not a good idea that God would be responsible for people getting sick, getting ill, people, or for disasters like, well, we just had our commemoration of the Second World War for Auschwitz, and no. I think that's too far a stretch, that God would be behind that as well. I refuse to believe that, to consider that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's very undescribable. What I have a sense of is something exactly that is beyond my capacity to describe. So that leaves me a problem when you say, well, define it, because that's precisely it. I feel there's a lot beyond me that I am incapable of defining, but I have a sense of it being there. And it is a sense of that somehow the reality around me does have an order, and in a sense, order is a kind of intelligence, I think. So, I mean, ultimately, if you follow back the thoughts, I would probably subscribe to the idea that everything goes back to a kind of void, of the void of the Buddhist, but that doesn't. But then you have to understand, well, what does void mean? It's just it's understanding that's the important thing. It's you can call it whatever you like, but if you don't understand what the word means, then any word will do. In fact, so
Yeah, the idea of a God that was punishing, that was insecure, that you had to constantly tell him that you believed in him, that those qualities don't seem like a high quality. I mean, if I were to name some qualities that I would like God to have, it would be loving, accepting, non-judgmental, embracing everybody, not just one group of people. To me, those would be really kind of high qualities, and for me, those are qualities that I aspire to. So I would hope that a more intelligent being would even have more of those qualities. To you?
Well, when you say the word God, the first things that comes up to my mind is negative, because, well, I'm like I said, from Western Europe, it's Catholicism, most of the surrounding where I've been, and that was definitely negative to me, the whole concept. So when you say God, I associate it with Catholics and say no, that's negative.
But I believe like let's say it's God, but it's some like energy, you know, everywhere. And I part of this energy. No, you know, I have if I don't listen people, you know, about why la la, you know, if just I close my eyes and find the question inside, it's my questions, you know, it's like coming from my natural intuition. Then I just say that if it's like give me the interest, the life, you know. If I think that everything's so mechanical and you know everything so even if mechanical, but it's very beautiful, you know. You can see this all this interesting transformation of from the one object to, you know, and I think it's like the something eternal.
This God is overall. It's overall. Message here spoke of. It's overall.
And
one God.
Yeah.
It's overall. It's one. It's not more of two or three. It's one God for all people.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's looking. This is God for the Quran or for the Bible or for the angel. It's only for one. All for God.
Well, I think God is a fair person. I mean, God is the world. It's just everything around us. I guess is kind of God, and it's well, it's difficult to explain. I've never thought of explaining that too much, but I think it's something good. I don't believe in heaven or hell or anything like that. I just think it's something good.
Well, I think he's in the nature, in the trees, in the flowers, in the animals. People are too wise to still believe, I think.
And when you say that, what do you kind of mean by that? Why?
Well, it's like the story in the Bible by the Thomas, the one who didn't believe. First had to see before believing, and I think mankind is like that. First seeing, then believing.
So what you're saying is man doesn't totally believe until he sees.
Yes.
And for you personally, is that how you feel, or?
Yeah, sometimes. Because the things that happen in the world, there is a reason, of course, but I don't think that God has something to do with that.
And do you think that then when you feel that way, then you don't believe in God, or
Yes.
that? Oh, okay, I understand.
The problem is Jerusalem. God is looking now 2,000 years over Jerusalem, and there are three different parties: Christian parties, Jewish party, and Islamic party. Everybody says in Jerusalem, "Oh, we are thinking about God," but what they are doing during 2,000 years is they kill them. That means God must be, if he say this, can see this over 2,000 years, he has to be laughing about 2,000 years because it's so absolutely crazy and sick. Yeah, to say that's our God and you have to kill the other ones and so on and so on.
Or what qualities would it have?
I think the quality of life, maybe. That's I give more at a bit a social aspect, that people live their lives, but give another the opportunity to live their lives too. Yeah, I know I came from a small place where they were very religious and very how do I say? Yeah, through the week they curse and they did everything what God said you mustn't do, and on Sundays they were sitting in front in the church and be very oh, I'm so good that I never do something wrong. And yeah, I saw that always and thought, no, that's not my life. And then they say, oh, you're a sinner because you do that and that wrong, and you have to do it that way. You can't go out so late, or you can't curse or do things this way or do things that way. And I think give people the opportunity to live their own life and accept how people are. If they're a bit different, then that's my belief, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I not always do that way, but I try to.
I think it's a whole pyramid of spirits, in a way, and I'm not sure, perhaps there is somebody on the top, but I'm not sure about it. I think, in a way, humanity is a collective energy. So, if there is a God, could be, but for my belief it's not necessary.
Complex because my mother was a believer in God and she brought me up, and she was a really good person and I loved her very, very much, and I believe for her she has eternal life somehow because she's deserved to have it. She was such a wonderful person, and in a way she does live on through me and my children and all the good things she gave us. And in that sense, if that's God, then I believe in that, you know, that sort of thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in the first place, I think it is a kind of person who is a good person, or is person. I don't know if that's right, but if I say it's a person, the first thing I think it's a good person. But there are also other things I'm thinking about. If I'm looking in the world, all these bad things, and I begin to doubt. Yeah, is he really so good as I think, or as I hope that he should be, by letting all these things happen? So I think he probably has also other traits, which I don't like so much, and which I find difficult to accept.
Beschrijven? Nee. Een geest is moeilijk te beschrijven als die al bestaat.
Maybe what quality?
Ja, in de Bijbel staat goed. Nieuwe Testament is het testament van de liefde. En het Oude Testament eigenlijk van de straffen, van de rechtvaardige God. Die ook boos wordt op de mensen als ze alles weer verkeerd doen. Dus die van het Nieuwe Testament vind ik wel leuker.
Ja? Oké. Geweldig.
How would you describe God? Yeah, I think I cannot say God is a man, God is an animal, God is a plant. But I think God in energy, in spirit, God is a strong force. It's a big power for us. You have raining, and you have sun, and sometimes you have more rain and more sun. And the person is the same. You have a good person and a bad person. And God is the beginner of us. God is not good or God is not bad. God, it's our. And the life is here, is going on.
I think my God doesn't have a like person view. How you say it? It's not a person. I never thought about how he looks. It just yeah, I believe in something. It's not a person.
Well, that's difficult because my idea is a little bit different than the culture I lived in, and it's something cosmic. It's connected with the cosmic dimension out there in the room, in the space, and out there in the inner space between this very huge spaces. I realized something that's called identity of myself.
Yeah. Okay. I think. I mean, I suppose my perspective really is Buddhist more than Christian in some respects. Although I appreciate that the two religions have a lot, or ways of thinking have a lot in common. But for me, God is more. It's as much a state of being in some respects. It's as much a place that we are in, a nirvana, I suppose. As I don't see God as a figure, or as a, in the way that perhaps some Christian people would. Yeah.
More like well, it's very personal. He's more like my friend, a good friend. But sometimes it's more than that. It's more than just a friend. He's a lot closer. Like with friends, you just sometimes you don't say everything to them, but with him, it's more, you can tell him anything, and one of the most deepest thoughts or secrets. And I think he knows everything about us in person. He knows the number of hairs we have on our head. He knows our deepest, most intimate things, and he's the one that created us. So I think that, yeah, he's a lot more than just a friend.
The fact that there's a name at all drums up a persona, drums up a character. I think of Christ, and when I come to thinking like that, I feel like, I don't feel like I need to personify the feeling that I have for a universal energy, or for something far higher than us as human beings. And what is God? Jesus. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Personally, I always have controversy with so many people about this concept of God. And I found out that to so many people, the definition of God varies. Some people see God as a person that is unseen, that controls and everything. Some people see God as a spirit, a supernatural thing. And some people see God as a manifestation of goodness. And I think the last one is what I would dwell on. That is the manifestation of goodness.
Maybe I could define it as that I'm not religious, but superstitious religious. Superstition is what it is, but it is a kind of religion, but with an accent. I mean, don't walk under a ladder against a wall because you will have bad luck. This is superstition. these little examples I gave you of the whirlwind and a piece of chewing gum paper swirling in it, that's no superstition, it's what you make of it. I think if there is any God or many gods, they are every day busy in your head. Some days you don't feel any, and you don't need to feel any contact. And other days are very full of little religious, superstitious signs that make my day great.
Not really, but for example, sometimes in Japan, after somebody died, we put a picture, and my father did something wrong to my brother, my mother, and sometimes I was very angry to him. I was shouting to his picture, and then the picture, the face of the picture changed. Very just shy face or road and or crying. So maybe this is also one kind of God.
Expression of this energy is love. And so I feel that that's something that is something that is really clear for me. But the idea of a God who looks down from the heaven and is really busy with you and what you're doing, no, that's not credible for me, basically.
His love. He's more perfect than me. He's very tolerant. He will accept me. He will never send me to hell or these ridiculous Nazi illusions of the organized religion, especially my former religion, Islam. He's nice. He's like a father to me. A very nice father, caring father. He understands. He has a lot of understanding. And he knows that I'm human and I have my faults. And I'm always doing my best. And he helps me when I do my best.
Experiencing God or describing God. Experiencing God is enjoying total balance, contentment and feeling love, both inward and outside of me. Feeling complete.
Aha.